locked in. It is July 29th, 2018. We're at a round number 290. Podcast 290.
290. So where does that bring us to? Basically
10 away. So 10 weeks, 2.5 months. Where's that?
Almost 6 years.
September, like October 1st, like around October 1st.
October 1st for our 300th. I have a very special first-time guest. Very special first-time guest, Russ Steeves. Legendary.
Russell. Hi, everybody.
Welcome, Russ.
Glad to be here. Joe Shim. Haven't seen you in 30 years.
It's true. 30 years.
30 years?
Well, you've seen him 2 or 3 times, but you just can't remember.
What's funny about that is, like, this group of people is that we get together. It's as if we haven't spent any time together. Yeah, it's just like hopping back on a bike.
Or grown up at all. In the 30 years.
Susan can attest that we literally have like
Arrested Development.
Mike Codair is here.
Morning, Joe.
Susan Lipsett is here, bringing homemade donuts with the glazed. Mike also bought some of his own glaze this morning.
Glazed donuts.
His eyes are glazed.
That's not the only thing that's glazed.
He has a saucing hat from Harry Potter on.
His chin is glazed. His upper lip is glazed.
That's my nighttime treatment for my lips. Lip balm, deep treatment.
Yeah, it was a deep treatment, all right. Yeah. I'm sure it was a deep treatment.
It always is.
It looks like it was a chocolate donut too.
My husband asked now, what did Susan make today?
Chris McCarthy is here, of course.
Good morning, sweetheart.
Russ, I mentioned, and Kim Smith is here.
Good morning, Gloucester.
Kim, horrified.
It was, wasn't it?
It was horrifying.
I don't get over to Gloucester that often, so I'm glad to see you, boys and girls.
What is this, like a work release program?
45 minutes takes me to get over here.
49 minutes.
I go to North Conway easier than this.
So Russ,
Not at all.
Yeah.
Russ was an athlete, a very acclaimed hockey, baseball player, two-way sport, All-American, Bishop Fenwick High School, class of 1985, and now he's taken over the baseball program.
He was actually a Hall of Famer for pocket pool too.
I didn't know we had
We
that.
can go there on this? Oh, beautiful. I feel good now. I'm ready.
Which baseball program?
Bishop Fenwick High School.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, our alma mater. And if you saw the facility, the athletic facilities at that school now compared to what we had, it's outrageous.
Sure.
It is unbelievable.
Have you seen what they're doing now? They have gutted all the windows. They've put all these high.
I did see that. Yeah.
It looks
That
like
must be because all of the alumni are so successful
Yes.
that they give them lots of money to do that.
Big contributions.
Yeah. All new windows.
Over and over
If you
again.
haven't seen the thing, they're where the foyer is that we used to drive under.
Yeah.
They're gonna glass that and make that like a student center, and that's gonna be coming out. Yeah, not this year. I think it's next summer. A lot of work over at Fenwick. They just re-turfed the field.
Really?
So yeah, a lot of money going in over there.
My daughter plays soccer so towards the end of the spring soccer season, they play at Brookwood. That field turf gets so hot. Like the kids were the steam was coming off their head, and it wasn't that hot of a day. But something I think that is it true that turf
10 degrees.
10 degrees hotter?
It's 10 degrees difference.
Because of the concrete underneath?
The turf. Something about the turf.
Oh, it's synthetic.
Yeah, synthetic. It's
Conducts
rubber in
heat.
there. The rubber heats up. Yeah,
It's a heat conductor.
yeah.
It doesn't disperse the heat. So tell me, how did they bring you back into the fold as the baseball coach at Fenwick?
So I was there for since 2001 with Coach McCarthy at the time. I was his assistant all the way through. He resigned, and I coached there as head coach for 4 years.
And Russ played for Coach
I
McCarthy.
played for Coach McCarthy.
Right.
Wow.
So then I resigned when Cole was 10 years old, so I could coach him. So I was missing stuff, and then obviously I coached Mikey too, Mike's kid. So the AAU programs. So Cole was 10 through 16, and he's at St. John's Prep. And he said, "Dad, I'm going to play Ultimate Disc." He's in the drama program, so he's no longer playing baseball. And then the coach that was at Fenwick resigned literally that week.
Wow.
So I just made a call, and it's timing. So
Wow.
yeah.
Are you really psyched to be back? Did you miss it when you weren't doing it?
Not really, because I was coaching still.
Yeah.
It's different.
Right,
I'm still coaching, but
Yeah.
I'm glad to be back.
Yeah.
It's really good.
We had, I say it all the time. It was best time. I mean, I love my life now with Kate. Everything is total bliss and everything. High school.
Was it like the best 10 years of your life?
High school was a tough act to follow for us.
High school was unbelievable. That school, and I say this all the time. No slight to Gloucester High School at all. I believe you can get a good education at Gloucester High School. I believe you can get a good education anywhere. The reason why I thought what my parents did for me was so valuable to me was it got me outside of my comfort zone in Gloucester so you're thrust into this situation where you have to meet completely and integrate and be social with, instead of being with my cousins. I have a ton of cousins, right? So like I had this small network of that. I knew all the Italian kids in town, and we went to the same parties, did the same things. We went to Bishop Fenwick, like you were thrust into being a social person right off the bat, or it's sink or swim, right? Sink or swim, and then when you go to college, it's like no big deal. You've already been through this of meeting a whole different group of people,
So my wife is from Calgary, Canada, and she cannot believe how we talk about Fenwick and have friendships that she goes, it's unique, it's rare, something about it. She said it's not even. She's never seen it like.
Yeah, we really.
You also must have had a very special class too. I think
that's what it was too, Joe.
I think you can go class by class. Like that.
I think so. We were really.
A lot of
tight.
faculty says that.
I loved like, what was great though, like we had friends in every town on the North Shore, so we traveled to parties. You know what I mean? And
Like being in Hunt or Gloucester or
Topsfield, Newburyport.
But that's hard for the parents too. My kids both went to private school in Atlanta, and their best friends they pick out live like 30 miles away.
But
it's a lot on the parents.
But the confidence of back then we didn't have GPSs on our phones. I had this. Remember those maps that was on a spiral, and you turn the page to go to the next town.
Directions in their house.
Like to find these houses and these house parties, and like Newburyport, the Keeleys and these Beverly
and Mike's house.
Mrs. Codair, best party of my life. Thank you very much. Mrs. Codair, I want you to know that.
And then my mother shows up the next day to help us clean up. What kind of mother is that? She was the best.
Awesome.
I puked in Chris's house, right?
Oh yeah, before the hike up to Mount Chikora.
Oh really? Yeah.
Everyone stayed at my house. We missed
That
the
was
bus
junior.
ride.
That was junior, senior,
right.
junior.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
That was a bad.
That's when I.
Bad example.
Joe had one beer and he puked.
We had to carry that girl down who hurt her ankle.
McGowan, I think.
My mom still
long
lives
dark
around
hair.
here. We still talk about.
She's a
that
witch
story.
now, I think.
Who'd we carry down the hill?
Who do you have to carry down the hill with long dark,
I don't know,
kinky
but
curly hair?
she was the heaviest.
She's a big
heaviest in
girl.
our class.
Don't say her name, but okay, now you got that out there. Don't say her name.
That's when I first started dating Nicole. Right after that trip.
Nicole Fitzgibbon.
That's right.
Rest in peace.
R.I.P.
All right, here we go.
So
It's on the
anyway,
23rd.
did I thank Susan for bringing the donuts yet?
Yeah, well, you mentioned it when you were introducing.
I always
but-
like to acknowledge the
Very
very
good.
generous. Everybody loves them. So I wanted to mention. I have to thank my friends on the Ellis family on the Thomas Lannon.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't go this time, but we had a bourbon cigar sale. Cigars courtesy of Plus 90 Cigars, Paul Gigaloni.
Where is that place?
I think he's like online now.
I think he's
Yeah, he's
online.
online because I spoke to him.
You can't just run
I got
over
his
there
card.
and get a
It's
stick.
No, he used to have like a little.
Storefront.
He's on Amazon.
Yeah.
Is he on Amazon?
Don't
Everybody.
give out false information. People can be going there. So
Well, he's virtual. That's what I'm
Well,
trying to say.
just say
He's
the
virtual.
name of what's the name of his business again?
But it's like Coke.
Every time you say something stupid, I'm gonna swear at you.
so Paul Gigaloni's Plus 90 Cigars.
Plus 90 cigars.
They so want to hear the bourbon lineup they had?
Yeah.
Yeah, and who does who did the bourbon?
They got the bourbon.
Oh, they did.
Yeah. So they had my one of my top two favorites. They had the Elijah Craig.
Okay.
They had Calumet.
It's Camelot. But go ahead.
No, it isn't.
I'm kidding you.
They had one that I didn't care for, Nor'easter, and I think it's brewed down on Nantucket or something like that. Not brewed, but
But you're still
distilled.
calling it bourbon.
I think
I
Cisco.
know.
I think Cisco Brewery might. That might be their line.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Now
interesting.
that you say that.
So the
What
Widow
else did they
Jane
have?
bourbon is not.
What other ones?
And they had Woodbridge.
Woodbridge Reserve.
94 proof or something, right?
And
That
are
was
these
their thing.
all the other ones are made in Kentucky?
You know, I think that so we had
There's no law that says you can't, but people just don't do it.
we. So from what I understand, that you're really only supposed to call bourbon
Yeah,
whiskey
supposed to
that
in
has to be
quotes.
made, but that has. People are taking great liberties with that nowadays,
I think
from
it's
what
like
I understand.
what my son calls cultural appropriation. Like when white people wear kimonos because they're in style this year. Or that painting in the MFA with, who is it, Renoir? His wife, or no, Manet, is wearing a kimono. And they had protests there because it was cultural appropriation. People take that problem a little bit too far, I think. But
Not in the
I
case
think
of bourbon,
the people
though.
in
In this
Nantucket,
case,
you know, they're known for like whaling and stuff. Let them just have that. You don't see people in Kentucky trying
do whale
to
shit.
catch whales.
Yeah,
So just like if it's from Kentucky, we'll call it bourbon, and if it's not, we'll call it whiskey.
Whiskey.
Even in Tennessee, they call their stuff
Tennessee
Tennessee
whiskey. Right.
Okay, now let me ask you a question, because on Jack Daniel's bottles, I've seen that's Tennessee whiskey, but they say
Right.
bourbon on some of their bottles.
No, they don't.
Are you sure?
I think not. You'll have to show me to believe it. I
All
don't
right.
think they would
Well,
do
we'll
that.
do a little research
But you know
on
that county where Lynchburg, Tennessee is, they can now drink there. Just recently,
Oh,
it was
because
a dry county
right.
Oh, really? Huh.
until
The last
last
one right
year.
after
Didn't
Gloucester.
we hear something about?
right at the Rockport.
Didn't we hear
Yeah,
something?
that was a role model for them. Let's do that.
I read something that all the 90% of the employees of that town worked for the distillery, Jack Daniel's distillery,
Probably.
and they said that.
It's a small town.
But they said that like they really take care of their employees there. They're like,
They have to. There's
Really well
no other
taken.
place for them to get employees.
well, there you
It's
go,
all about obtaining and attracting.
saying it's there.
Yeah.
So
So how was the Nantucket whiskey?
I did. Everybody, the general consensus was that was the
The
least favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and-
it's
and-
divine
and-
retribution, isn't it?
Everybody, most people enjoyed the Elijah Craig. So
And where's that from?
it has to be from.
I rest my case.
There you go.
Now, what about Asian whiskeys? Have you tried any of those?
Oh,
Asian.
yeah.
No,
And
but
there's some very
wasn't-
good whiskeys.
Wasn't there
In
a big
2015,
shortage?
the number one whiskey in the world, voted at the big international competition, was a whiskey produced in Taipei, in Taiwan.
Huh.
Interesting.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they
And
take
some
it
of the
seriously.
Japanese whiskeys apparently are out. My son-in-law is a whiskey expert, and he loves these Japanese whiskeys.
I read an article about that said that there was one that got one of their distilleries over there at one of these competitions got voted like the best whiskey, and it was they're very angry over there because it was a super affordable whiskey. And when after they won that award,
funny.
they like tripled the price, and none of the people
Right.
over there can.
It's also
can
hurting
afford
the sake distillers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The popularity of whiskey with the younger generation in Japan.
Interesting. So we're on the boat, which is the most beautiful boat in Gloucester Harbor. I think we all can agree that Thomas.
You tell us
Inman-
every week, so it's like
It's true.
we're bringing
Because the people are the nicest people in the world. Chris, was it not such a? Is that not a great time?
It's a great time.
Should anybody that comes to Gloucester? So say you're a tourist in Gloucester. Would you say that's the number one thing they ought to do? Is go on
Must do.
do, right?
Must do.
I
It's one of
agree.
the top ones on TripAdvisor.
Is it really? Well,
Oh, really?
it should be.
Yeah.
I occasionally look at TripAdvisor things to do in Gloucester just to make sure we haven't missed anything.
It's so
over
beautiful, and
these
the
years.
people are so friendly.
Oh,
I know that I'm a broken record. I keep skipping on this topic but they honestly deserve the accolades. But here we're going to get to a point where we can have a real discussion.
oh, okay. Sorry. I was gonna say. No,
We're going to
sorry,
have a real
sorry.
discussion.
No one wants to get to my topic.
Sorry.
What is it?
She can't stand. She don't want me to get to the topic.
What's the topic?
This is what I'm trying to get there.
We need a drum roll?
No. So we're on the boat. So I barely made the boat. The boat leaves at 6. I had a boat. One of my last lobster boats showed up at the dock at 5:45. So I had to take out the boat. I had to make up the crates. I had to wash down the floor. I had to organize everything. Get the truck loaded. Luckily, the truck pulled in at the same time as the last boat.
Oh, no.
And I made it. I was 5 minutes late, but they held the boat for me.
Oh, they did? Oh.
That's
So-
why you need a summer intern.
So needless to say, I went on the boat with no food, and we had a crazy day on Friday.
Oh, my
It was the
God.
last day of the
Right.
big week, and so I'm starving. So I get off. So towards the end of the boat ride, I'm like, at the same time.
So you're drinking
This
all
was
You
that
didn't have any
whiskey?
food
This was
on the
a-
boat?
what?
There was no food on the
No
boat?
booze, but no food.
No,
So-
you should have a little.
So this
Breakfast or something.
this cruise was primarily for members of the Gloucester Barbecue Delegation, the group that we have, 144 members,
Right.
and then the Weber Kettle Club Northeast chapter to get together and kind of talk about our nerdy barbecue stuff that we talk about.
Right.
But most of these, I had people from Atlanta, from upstate New York, from Western Mass,
Everywhere.
from everywhere for this thing. And I said, we're going to go for roast beef sandwiches after the cruise, and then we're going to go to the crow's nest. So they're looking at me like, roast beef sandwiches?
Which is, right.
What are you talking about, roast beef sandwiches?
We're there in Gloucester.
So they are not. I'm trying to figure out where the region stops where you can mention Nick's roast beef and people understand what a three-way is.
At 93.
Three-way.
I-93.
What are we talking about? It's very sandwiches or
No,
You
do you
always
know
provincial.
what?
It's just this area. People don't know what you're talking about.
I think
Sure.
do they have them south of Boston or is it just north of Boston? Because obviously
I've never
Kelly's
seen
roast
it.
beef, right?
No, I think I've seen them in Connecticut. Maybe
I don't.
those are homies.
they got great pizza in Connecticut.
All right, okay, let's knock it off topic. Let's knock it off topic.
Okay, so
So
Couldn't help it.
roast beef sandwiches are thinly that we know of.
right.
They have no have
Rare.
Rare.
Medium rare.
top of the round, sliced super thinly.
Right.
Has to be James River barbecue sauce, and then to me that puts it over the top is the bun on the with the
Little
butter on the flat
horseradish
top.
isn't bad on it either, with the barbecue sauce.
Look, Joe's his mouth's
He's
watering.
I'm truly-
salivating.
I'm
He's
fucking
salivating.
salivating.
Like I found.
I don't have any napkins. I'm drooling all over myself. So there have been many discussions. So when we were back in high school, so we weren't of drinking age, even though we were going to parties. But like when the parties got broken up, inevitably the meeting places were one of two places. If we were kind of on the northern side, it would be Nick's roast beef.
Beverly, right?
But if we were closer to Danvers or Peabody, we would go to Supreme Roast Beef, which was in Danvers Square,
And I used to go to Land and Sea, which is Peabody.
which is South Peabody, right? Or West Peabody?
South Peabody, yeah.
South
In
Peabody.
Reading, we
South
didn't even
Peabody.
have this
Yeah,
roast
flat
beef.
diet.
I grew up in Reading.
Curbs.
There was no roast beef there growing up.
So, to you, now I put it out to you. A, who has the best roast beef sandwich? B, how do you take your roast beef?
That's a little personal, Joe.
I take my beef any way I can get it, first of all. Three-way, Land and Sea.
Three-way land and sea. Interesting.
What's three-way?
Sauce, cheese, mayo.
Mayo, cheese.
Sauce, cheese, mayo. I go sauce, cheese. I go
Horseradish.
sauce, cheese, mayo. Three-way, extra sauce.
Horseradish and barbecue sauce.
Interesting. I'm gonna have to try. I'm gonna try
Onion
that.
rings on the side.
Yep, agreed. Yeah.
Pizza
Yeah.
roll.
That sounds
Remember the
like
pizza
Speaking
roll?
of onion rings,
Kelly.
there we go.
Kelly's is good. I like Kelly's.
What's your favorite roast beef sandwich on the you might have a little more information than us. Where do you think the line of demarcation where people don't know what a roast beef sandwich is? Where does it end?
China.
I-93.
The tradition. What we're what I speak of when I say a roast beef sandwich.
Hartford, Connecticut.
They have them down there.
You can get them written around there.
That's what Susan
That's what
said.
Susan said.
Yeah.
I was going to say
My son
Ryan's,
went to Wesleyan, so I was down there.
Ryan's Deli might
area
pump
a lot.
might pump one out for you. Here in Vernon, Connecticut.
Have you ever had beef on a wick?
I don't know what you're
Beef on a
talking.
wick.
I don't know what you're talking
I
about.
was in upstate New York, right outside of Buffalo, visiting with a company. Actually, it was a
We don't care
milk
what the company
producer,
is.
Oatka.
Oh, I
Milk.
care.
Nope.
You sent an NDA?
No. And it was this bread roll with caraway seeds, and they drench it in the au jus, and it's this beef that's been sitting in the juice, and they just throw it on this bread. And
Is
the
it
bread
thinly
has salt
sliced?
on it.
Is it thinly sliced?
Yeah, thinly sliced.
Interesting.
So it was like
I'm
their
making
version
faces like you didn't like
of
it.
a roast beef sandwich.
Of a Nick's roast
But
beef.
I had never heard
Interesting.
of beef on a wick,
Yeah.
and it was
Much better than a garbage
it
plate,
was-
not that way.
I like Kelly's roast beef in Revere.
Really?
Yeah, I like that.
I like any Kelly's.
You know what makes my
That's a good
roast
sandwich.
beef a gem is an onion roll.
You like
Onion
so if you get a super,
Get a super.
Yeah.
if you get a super, you get the onion roll.
Yeah.
That's
I'm a junior beef roll guy.
yeah, a little bit of powder on there
Why don't you
junior
grill
beef
us a
sauce.
roast beef and I'll make the onion
Yeah.
rolls?
Oh, wow.
because to do it right, you have to that has to be they do it a special way. I think they cook them at
That's a
like
good
225
Yeah.
for 10 hours or
Well, you
something
can do
like that.
that.
Yeah, what's wrong with that, Joe?
You have a commercial slicer you can get it that thin.
My neighbor has a slice of ham.
It wouldn't be a bad idea to try
That'd be
and
awful
to
good.
try to take it to the next level.
Oh my
I like that
Trying to
idea.
replicate.
I
We
think
might have to
should
do that. We might have to do that for the 300th podcast.
That's
I won't be
great.
here.
This
Oh.
this Supreme
That first frost on
is
the
pretty
pumpkin.
good.
This Supremes is
See
pretty
my
good.
taillights.
I like
So
that.
so just recently
Gotta go pack for the cruise.
in the past
Start getting ready.
in the past couple of days, I've heard from a couple of different people that mentioned a worthy place to go, and it's totally off of my radar. I have not eaten there yet. Is Greg's roast beef across from the train station?
Really?
So we have to try
In
that.
Gloucester?
I might send you.
In
I might send you
Gloucester?
on a mission so that we
Actually, do a
can.
blind taste test.
I'm in.
down.
I'm in. I'll
Roast
pay.
Cliff.
I
Head
we
over
gotta,
there.
we gotta go.
Everything's gonna be a roast beef. Well, I can't get away from work.
So tell us what happened. So
Can we
I haven't gone there. Oh, so okay. So I'll get back to the thing.
Yeah.
So I brought all these people. I brought 30
A
people.
boatload of people.
I brought 30 people, literally a boatload of people, into Supreme Roast Beef in Gloucester, and minds were
That's where
blown.
they used to be chips.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're really
I
nice.
haven't
Mine's-
been since.
minds were blown. Minds were blown because they'd never had that before. They never experienced that.
That's interesting.
So okay, so I'm going to go. The next part of the story is we go to the Crow's Nest.
How
It's
much is the roast beef sandwich there? Because Kelly's went up. The price.
Kelly's
went
is
up a lot.
outrageous. I don't even put Kelly's on my thing because
It used to
like
be
a roast beef plate there is like
$4.75.
$16.
Like
That-
$9 and
Kelly?
something.
Kelly's roast beef.
Yeah.
The prices are bananas.
I didn't have that.
It used to be $4.75. I remember.
How about the price of clams? Too, like $25 for a clam plate. My parents said at Doobies.
Oh, 30
Oh,
sometimes.
yes.
Really?
Clams
Really?
are so
Well, when you get
expensive.
rain,
So
if
how
you get
much
rain, they have to
is it
shut
at
the flats
Supreme?
down.
Right.
So when they shut the flats down,
It
like-
jacks the price.
How
Jacks
much
the
is the sandwich at Supreme?
so you got it was just over $10 for a medium Coke, and they have to use the crushed ice, the Diet Coke with crushed ice, string fries, and a large roast beef sandwich,
Well,
3-way.
that's
With an
not
onion
bad.
roll or no onion roll?
No, no
Large
onion roll because I didn't get a super. I got a large. I didn't want to be too bloated for my people. So anyway, we ended up going. It's a joke, Russ. It's a joke. So we go from there to what has come to be my favorite bar in Gloucester,
The crow's nest.
the Crow's Nest.
Yeah.
I've
Which is
tried it.
bananas.
I've never
No, I
been
know
there.
why you love it.
It's so bad, but we go in there with a crew.
Yeah, but
Chris has been there.
Yeah.
Chris can attest.
Yeah.
We go in there. Everybody's super friendly. The bartenders make the
Yeah.
best shots. We had a
Best
pancake
Bloody-
shot.
Pancake shot.
We had
Best
pancake
Bloody
shots.
Mary
Wait,
in the-
what's a pancake shot? What's
Jameson, butterscotch
Yeah,
schnapps,
butterscotch.
and with an orange juice chaser.
Yeah.
It tastes like a pancake in your mouth. I swear to God, you swear you just ate a pancake.
Does it come with a pink
Why
hat?
don't
As
Just have a
opposed to a
pancake.
pancake up your ass. Because the two taste different.
Does it come with a pink hat, Joey?
No, you don't have the pink pussy hat. You don't have to wear the pink pussy hat to go there. So I just have to say that every time. So I got engaged there. Of all places, I got engaged there.
Yes, that was a beautiful time.
Yeah, that was
And
wonderful.
we had a
Yeah,
blast.
thanks for inviting
That's
us.
where every girl wants to get engaged.
That's the perfect storm, right?
That's their
Yeah.
dream. When they're
Yeah.
little girls, they dream. I hope someone proposes to me at the crow's nest when I grow up.
A true gentleman.
Yeah.
It was the only way I was going to be able to surprise her. It was the only way I was going to be able to surprise her.
And whisked me off to the crow's nest.
I had
where
reservations.
we would get down on one knee, but the floor's too dirty. So
It's not dirty there.
It's not dirty.
So
You know what? They
dirty.
have the best popcorn in town too.
Chris
Free
just
popcorn.
devours the
No, I have the best
popcorn. It's
popcorn.
free, so he just stuffs his face with the
peanut
popcorn.
butter and truffle sauce.
Hey, but that's not a new program.
That's
You're not doing the
excellent.
popcorn anymore.
You have to bring some.
It doesn't travel well. You gotta eat it right away.
Yeah, because it gets that.
No, you don't want that.
I can't eat popcorn anymore. Every time I eat popcorn, I get the kernel stuck underneath my tongue,
Yeah.
and I can't get them out.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, that's not pleasant.
It's horrible.
Awful. Kim, have you ever been to the crow's nest?
Yes, a
I
long
can't
time
believe
ago
it.
with
I
my
can't picture it.
with my sister-in-law and her husband wanted to go. We had fun. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, when I have visitors
just
from out of town who want to go there, I drop them off. Tell them when you're ready
I'm
to
going
come
to tell you
back.
something. If you went in there, I bet you have a great time.
Oh, yeah.
It's not rough and tumble. People think it's
Oh,
like
but
this.
it can be when he shows up.
When the
Jesus, I'm a lover, not a fighter.
My sister and brother-in-law.
when the yuppies show up from Middleton,
Yeah.
then it gets really
Right.
crazy in there.
Yeah.
I went on the prowl for white bucks last weekend.
You
Shoes?
walked in there with white box?
No, I
We
looked.
So
all-
our
we-
tent sale starts Wednesday.
We,
I got some. I'm good. But we
my first go-to was Mark Adrian,
Yeah.
and they didn't have them
Tent
there.
sale, annual
But
tent sale.
I ventured out.
Hard to fit.
Nordstrom's,
Sizes.
Brooks Brothers.
Yeah, about this regular
The
size.
original buck was not white. It was like a beige-colored buck. I learned that when I was
a little
shopping.
off-color white.
Yeah.
Did you wear them, Russ?
The red soul.
You didn't wear them. Do you wear them?
Russ wore.
He didn't have the
Spark
courage.
Bills.
Russ didn't have the
Spark
courage
I
for
wore,
those. They were-
no, I was. If you remember, I wear clogs in high school.
Clog. He
You-
wore clogs.
Army wore clogs too.
with Tello's pants.
Was that all?
Pink socks.
with
Remember
pink
that?
socks?
Was that the hockey team? Was
Yes.
that a hockey team thing? And was it a special kind of clog?
No, I just wore pink socks one day because Chris said I wouldn't do it, so I did. Actually, I got it from him because he wore everything pink. He
Yeah.
had pink underwear back then.
Yeah. Well, what they
That's
used
why I
to
got
do,
the
what they used to
Dapper
do in
Dan.
East Boston,
That's
was
why I got the Dapper Dan award.
what they used to do in East Boston is they wouldn't separate the reds and the whites because there wasn't enough water to go around, so all his whites turned pink.
So did you find a pair of bucks that you liked? Wait, Chris, did you wear the bucks in high school?
No, I didn't wear bucks.
You didn't wear
Oh,
them.
we did.
We wore them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Best.
Peacoats and bucks.
Yeah, peacoats.
We all wore peacoats back then.
Oh, my grandfather's
Backhand.
my cashmere jacket.
Parachute pants. Don't forget about
Parachute
those.
from Tello's.
Yeah. My legs were so thin that I couldn't pull off the parachute pants. I was such a scrawny.
Because you blow away.
Yeah,
You were a kite. You were doing a
Full
kite.
sail.
Probably a parachute.
yeah.
Let's
Joe,
sail
come
it
back.
out.
I was so frail.
How about,
My
how
tennis
about our
frame.
favorite memory of Joe Shimataro in high school?
Yeah, there's a
think-
bunch
I
of
think
them,
we should go
right?
there.
Which one do we pick? From what year? Can we do a memory from each year?
From each year? How about each week?
Oh, where is this going?
I remember Joe
Mike,
being
what is
well dressed. Always well dressed with a collar up.
He did wear the gold chain outside
Yeah.
the collar, though. Remember that?
Collar always up,
Yeah.
prancing like
Yeah. There
gigolo.
was no guessing he wasn't Italian
Yeah,
for
no.
sure.
My favorite memory of Joe is I was
Is it
lonely
that little
one day.
horn?
You could tell I was lonely, and he's like, "Chris, what's going on?" I'm like, "Nothing." He saw that I was out of sorts, so he hooked me up with a lovely lady from the Gloucester area that I went to the junior prom with. And
jeez.
want to thank you, Joe.
Kim Moran?
He
Oh,
went
I wasn't
with me.
supposed to say
I
that
was-
name?
I got to witness this shit.
So now over to me for my favorite Joe memory, and that's when he paid respects to Jay Giles band and did the
Must have
Must Have Got Lost opening monologue, which was like 6 minutes long.
What? At the,
And
Junior prom.
I keep
talent show?
that if you heard me pull
Junior
up
prom.
with the song playing, Thomas Dolby Hyperactive, that was a song that brought me that memory because that was a high school song of mine. And then I said, favorite Joe moment is definitely when you did Reputa the Buta. Like down,
Reputa?
like
Oh,
down
that's
your
right.
head, and we climbed the ladder of your love. That was awesome, man.
That was probably my favorite.
Your
That's
favorite,
really-
good.
Yeah, that was
should have
good.
kept your pants on though. 'Cause
Because we had such good. We had, you know what? Our school traveled
Well,
to games. You know, we supported the athletes, the basketball team, the hockey team.
Joe, you're lying.
well, it's the only way to get into a
You're
party.
lying, Joe. No one ever showed up to a golf tournament.
Or a tennis one. Or a tennis one, trust me. Or a tennis one, trust me.
I didn't see one of you assholes.
Well, the only
Chris was captain of the golf team. I was captain of the tennis team. And
we
these
didn't
guys
know-
are
we had
hockey
no-
guys. They were getting all the girls that were.
You know, we had a team. Golf or tennis.
Usually people who play those sports tend to be more refined. Lisa?
Yes, that's true.
You never heard the term locker room talk?
Yeah,
Not
sure.
Yeah, it's been rebranded.
There you go. Russ, where do you live now?
Georgetown,
Oh, really? You grew up in Peabody,
Salem. Went in Fenwick, and then went to. I lived in Florida for a little while. We used to work for Carnival Cruise Lines for 7 years.
Oh,
Wow.
Bursa.
I was
He
one
was
of the chief
Gopher.
purser.
He was Gopher.
cool.
Gopher on Love
So a little
Boat.
bit in Miami, but then I came back. I was in Peabody for a little while, and now I'm Georgetown.
So when you lived in Peabody or Salem, did you ever go to Brody's Pub?
Did.
Was it?
That and Champions was my hang, but
that was
We
your
used to go
spot?
to Brody's Pub on Thanksgiving morning, and it would be a blessing to John Purcell, the unit director from the junior high school, because that's where I went to school at the Higgins. And every Thanksgiving morning, for like more than say 8 or 9 years, we would open at 8 o'clock or whatever, and we spent the morning there. We had a lot of good stories out of that place.
Yeah,
good place.
to hang. Russ and I used to play hockey against each other when we were kids, like 8 years old, 10 years old, Peabody, Salem.
Oh, wow.
And we met at Fenwick.
That's funny.
But
yeah, it was my mission to try to knock him through the boards if I could find him, catch him. I just wanted to kill him.
Hey,
That's all I wanted to do.
you said it, if you could catch him.
If you can catch it.
I just
Those
wanted
defensemen
I
were
just
slow,
wanted to
weren't
kill
they?
him.
We used to ring each other's bell.
Oh yeah,
We did.
Oh,
It was fun.
constantly.
We from age like 10, 11, 12, 13
Yeah.
years old. He was on the point and I was the wing, and we had run all the time, banging each other like two mules, two rams.
we had a great lunch at Brody's yesterday. My son is the cook and runs the kitchen there.
Really?
Brody's.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, great place.
Great steak tips.
Yeah.
Known for their steak tips.
Yeah, we took,
Now that's something you don't find much outside the Northeast.
That's
either.
right. The word steak
Steak
tip.
tips.
Absolutely.
You don't see them on restaurant
Because-
menus much. You don't
Yeah.
see them to buy in the store.
Absolutely.
And I kind of
You
miss them.
should-
They don't even know what it
You
is.
should
Like,
try- you should
if
try
I'm
the
somewhere
ones at
else and I say
Brody's.
I'm gonna get some steak tips, they're like,
It's sure one. So when I got into barbecue, right? There's online forum. You go to these online forums, barbecue
Right.
forums, to learn. Right? You want to get as much knowledge as
Yeah,
you
we
can.
do that with our big green egg.
So you type in the term steak tips, and like people, these like people that have been barbecuing their whole life had no idea what I was talking
Right.
about.
Most people know. You get out of this region.
And you can do Google searches, and it's really a super regional thing. Like you have to
It
go
is.
like 5 pages deep on a Google search to get to any resemblance
But then
of
they
what.
took it too
Well,
far.
he's not busy
Like once
pulling lobster traps.
people in New England figured out about the steak tips, now they got like turkey tips,
Yeah.
pork tips,
Yeah.
swordfish tips, everything. Now they just want the tips.
I feel
But
like,
steak tips are the best of the tips.
but I feel like you can't buy those pre-marinated meats because it's all the stuff that's ready to go on the taint that they just bury it with some sauce
Oh,
and
yeah.
put it
Now
out there
there's
to
a
move
couple
it
of
up.
places where you can get good
Think
ones.
so? Yeah,
Yeah.
Butcher Boy is really good.
Yeah.
But there's not one around here. You
Where's Butcher Boy?
I'll tell you
got
another.
there's one
North Andover,
Andover.
114.
Andover.
So sorry.
But there's another place a little closer.
That might as
I'll
well
tell
be
you
Canada.
let me tell you about the place that I actually get my tips from now. The Tuckaway Tavern up in New
Oh
Hampshire.
yeah, that's right.
Oh, they
You
were
told
on
me
Diners,
that.
Drive-ins, and
By
Dives. You
far.
know. Yes.
The best I've ever had.
What city is it in?
This is in Nottingham, New Hampshire, I think.
Yeah. No,
Nottingham.
it's not
Um,
Nottingham. It's
The Forest?
The Tuckaway State Park.
yeah. It was on Diners, Drive-ins, and Dives not too long ago. We
yes,
saw it,
the
and it
forest.
looks amazing.
Yeah.
Susan, I need you to
They
do a
have-
little
they
research on this. Give me the
They have tubs
location.
like Joe's
Yeah.
Lobsters out there.
Yeah.
All different flavors.
We should
Just
go
down
on a
the road.
field trip. They're really.
Incredible.
Is that before or after we do the
I can get my
the homemade roast beef sandwiches?
Well, you can't leave the state. So,
You can't leave the bridge.
Raymond, New Hampshire.
Rain,
Oh yeah, that's what I want. I think.
The Tuckaway Tavern.
How far?
Yeah, it's
how far
supposed
over
to
the
be
border is
awesome.
that?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
where
I'm
is
telling
Raymond,
you.
New
Not
Hampshire?
too far.
Raymond, New Hampshire. Well, funny you
It's
should
this
ask.
side of
I have it right
Manchester.
here on Google Maps.
This side of Manchester?
Is it like-
So not too far.
No.
Yeah, but for
Does it
Gloucester
say how
people,
far
it's
it
an
is
hour
from
and a half.
here?
Yes, it is
Yeah, we
1 hour and 15 minutes from here.
So I have to
For me,
go,
it's right up
I have to
95.
go to
95 to
Jaffrey.
101.
I have to go to
Half an
Jaffrey,
hour
New
for him.
Hampshire.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's a
So,
place I
I'll
could
check it out sometime.
go on my
All in.
way.
All
Well,
in.
I'm gonna look. It's
Next
not.
time we
It's
happen
on
by
Highway
Raymond, New
101.
Yeah.
It's like
I think
midway
isn't Dean
between
Rabriel up that way?
93 and
In Candia?
95.
Okay, all right.
Dean
think he
Rabriel.
is.
Yeah. No, I don't
Not
know.
very far north.
I think he
This
is.
is Gloucester.
So I could make it a
Yeah.
stop
Well,
on
it's
the-
like-
Rockport, yeah.
Right.
About latitude-wise, just a little bit between Hampton Beach and Portsmouth.
Okay.
Brendan?
I could go there on my way to Jaffrey. I could, make a little zigzag.
Now,
Brian.
another good place to go that was on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, and they have 3 or 4 locations, is the Red Arrow Diner.
Okay.
See, I've never heard of that one.
I go on my way up to King Arthur.
Have you ever heard of the Red
It's
Arrow
around,
Diner?
like Derry, there's
Red
one,
Arrow Diner.
Manchester, there's one. They have delicious
The Red
poutine,
Flame on
which is something you
44
also don't find
You
outside
don't,
New
you don't
Between
England.
find
5th and
that
6th.
poutine, right?
Poutine is delicious.
Isn't that a
They
Canadian
have a
thing?
fancy restaurant in Atlanta that has poutine. It's very good, but it's unusual to find it.
But
in
isn't that a
How about
Canadian
Route
thing?
114?
Poutine?
It is.
Yeah.
Caves.
They
I
have
guess
poutine.
Vermont and New Hampshire.
Do you know they have poutine at the
Close enough.
Brew Pub?
Enough, yeah. Huh.
They-
Cultural appropriation again.
They have poutine at the Brew Pub in Cape Ann Brewing.
Oh, I didn't know. Is it good?
I don't know. I haven't tried it.
Joe, I bumped into someone that I think knows you over Russ. He lives right next to Russ. Brian Anderton.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Grew up the one street over from me.
Yeah, so I don't want to take up the time, but I
Yeah,
wanted to throw
nice
that
guy,
out there.
nice guy.
Yeah.
Brian's a good
He said-
kid. He was a baseball player too, wasn't he?
I don't think so.
Are you sure?
Basketball.
Oh yeah, okay. Did he do some DJing and stuff like that?
I don't know.
He might have done some DJing when he was
He married
young.
my cousin.
Really?
Yeah, man, he's good.
Their steak
Yeah,
tips
yeah.
are award winning.
Which
At the
ones?
Tuckaway Tavern.
Right. I'm telling you right now. I
Here's
go.
the recipe.
That's where I go.
You don't even need a.
So next weekend, speaking of,
Have to go now.
so next weekend is the Bluefin Blowout.
Wow, that's exciting. They put so much preparation into this. It's amazing.
It is a great take. It's a family fun event. If
And the best tuna in the world.
Yes.
the best one.
Yeah.
It's
Do
so
you know
much-
that
Who
less
sponsors
than
it?
1%
Who sponsors?
by weight, I
Warren
read,
Watt.
Warren
all
Watt.
tuna caught is bluefin tuna.
What's that?
Less than 1% by weight of all the tuna caught annually is bluefin in
Oh,
the world.
really? Wow.
Wow.
So that's special. Are those friends of yours, Joe?
I'm giving them the big finger right out the window.
Hey, raise the bridge. They're going back over the island.
Yeah, make them sit at the bridge.
Yeah, make them sit in bridge.
Put up the gate and the drawbridge.
Oh my god. So anyway,
I just
go
found
to
the recipe
go to
for
that.
those steak
Go to-
tips from Tuckaway.
Yes.
She is on. You're locked in right now. You take
Locked and
away
loaded,
as
as we say in the
So this
South.
one-
Okay, what's the
Wait,
what's the
wait,
over under on how many more times she's going to mention the takeaway diner by the end of the podcast? I'm going 3.
Until you learn to pronounce it, I'm going to keep saying
I'm saying 3,
Three.
and I'm taking the over.
I'm not sending you this recipe. Just
Oh,
for me.
that's bold, Joe. That
I
was
was going to
bold.
send it to you.
3's bold. And the over is even more bold.
I'm just saying.
So, for the Bluefin Blowout, hasn't it been extended to Thursday? So, there's a lot more, it seems to me.
There is
going on.
crazy. Bluefinblowout.com. Go there. There's a crazy number of events for everyone to take part in.
And people should know too that so much of the proceeds go to Alzheimer's
research,
Yeah.
close to our heart. Jim Mascarelli's book launch is tonight.
Yes, and Susan's
6:30 at the Rocky Neck Cultural Center, but you have to get a free ticket on Eventbrite if you want to go.
Well, when this airs, it's already going to
But you've already
happened.
read half the book, right?
I've read half the book.
Lots of good history in
Lots
there.
of good Gloucester history, and just a lot about pirates.
Well, it's fiction, though.
But you can really relate to the
But
setting.
it's
No,
very
not
relevant.
there are historical accuracies
Yeah,
in
okay.
it.
Yeah.
He didn't make up the history.
Yeah. But
you
is
know,
it
you can
a
relate,
fast
like,
read?
Yeah, it's a very fast
Good beach read?
The first scene takes place in my neighborhood, so I like that. I can picture more vividly what, the places he's talking about. And then it moves to other coastal kind of settings, but
Jim was
Yeah.
on. What's the name of the book?
Beyond Beauport.
Beyond Beauport.
Yeah,
All right.
I got the Kindle,
Congratulations
the
to
Kindle edition.
Congratulations
congrats to
Jim.
him.
Yeah.
Quite a project.
You know what? To be published nowadays is big time.
Yeah.
Wilson's plover, very rare.
Very rare. Yeah, unbelievably rare. And I didn't know it when I was watching it, or I would have tried to get more footage and photos.
So explain this. What's happening?
So I was on the beach checking on our piping plover. They were going back, and this is when they were going back and forth between the parking lot and the beach. And so I checked on the parking lot, then I went to check on the beach, and it was very dense fog. And the little flock of them was just going along the tide, the shoreline, like the plovers often do. And I'm looking at them going, wow, those aren't piping plovers, those aren't black-bellied plovers, those aren't semi-palmated plovers. What are they, right? So I'm like, I just took some photos and a tiny bit of video footage. And so then I said to Dave Rimmer from Essex Greenbelt, he knows a lot about birds, I said, I think there's some Wilson's plovers down on the beach. Wow. And he goes, oh, no, that can't be, right?
Oh, wow.
Right. And so he goes down and he says, yeah, I saw 2 of them. So then I posted it on Good Morning Gloucester and on my website. And then about, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, I got a call from the Massachusetts Avian Records Committee secretary. And they were so excited because there's never been a sighting of more than one seen at one time in Massachusetts ever. Because it's very, very rare for them to even be in New Jersey. So as far north as New Jersey. So
maybe they're looking for the roast beef sandwiches.
They could be. They could be on the hunt.
To have 3 like that is, there are theories that because of global climate change, species are moving away from the equator and away from the poles. So that means that they're heading more towards the mid-latitudes, which we are a part of. So maybe this is the first of many. But, sometimes I think, like, maybe they've been here many times before.
So we could have more bird sanctuaries then
as time goes by.
I'm just waiting for them to finally anoint you the top of the
bird land.
How would we designate an additional bird sanctuary? Like we have one in the Audubon Society in Topsfield, and we have the sanctuary out in Plum Island.
I think the
Do we have one east?
They should
and
put one. You know where they should put one?
In Dalton.
You know where your backyard is?
Yeah.
Like right there, they should make that all sanctuary for miles and miles and miles, so no one can ever build there. And you can use it as your personal playground.
Like I think
what they call that?
sometimes the birds determine sometimes the birds determine the sanctuary because as a direct result of the Boston Harbor cleanup, Winthrop Beach became this amazing. Winthrop and Revere beaches both became these amazingly beautiful, clean beaches that birds now nest on, which is just like
Also, Hitchcock's gonna make a comeback.
Well, you should see these birds called least terns. I think the birds that Hitchcock was thinking about were least terns because they're a rare nesting bird and they dive bomb you when.
Were those really terns in the movie?
I don't know, but I think that must have given him the inspiration. When I go film the least terns, I wear a big hat. And,
one of those safari ones with the mosquito netting, maybe?
Well, no, because they dive bomb you and because
so they can't peck your eyes out.
And they poop on you. So
yeah, but you don't want them to peck your eyes out.
Yeah, I don't want them to, but I don't get. Like I see people walking around with umbrellas when they go see them. They don't bother me because I just
maybe they just want that for the sun.
They're there. They're wearing them because of the least terns. Because if you're visiting them at certain times when they're nesting, when they're building their nest, or when they're
so they're a hazard to society.
Do they just poop more than other birds?
No, but they poop on you on purpose to get you.
We gotta eradicate
know the
these.
motives of the birds.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
We gotta eradicate them.
No,
you got a target on your head.
You just got done telling me they poop on you on purpose and they dive bomb at your face and try and peck your eyeballs out.
At Cranes Beach, they have a fabulous colony at Cranes.
Maybe Ipswich will be the next bird sanctuary. There's not one there already.
Yeah, there already is one.
Oh, there is?
Yeah, Cranes.
Why, do you own some property there that you want to increase in value?
No, Cranes Beach is in Ipswich. That's an amazing bird sanctuary.
Is it like a protected sanctuary?
No, they have people and birds. So the birds choose an area, but also when you create an area that provides the right habitat and the food, then they come as well. So it's a combination of both. So we're very fortunate in our area. We have cranes and Parker River National Wildlife Refuge. We're just very, very fortunate. surrounded by so many beautiful wildlife areas.
I
mean,
agree.
it's incredible. Massachusetts is an incredible state. Really, really is. Where else do they have this kind of, along the coast?
We
Where-
have this thing that we're like this peninsula and it sticks out. So we're a perfect place to land, for our stopovers.
Right.
Well, at certain times of the year.
Yeah, so I wonder, I always wonder, well, I saw the Wilson's plovers. Maybe they've been here before. More of a more
If a
remote
tree falls
place.
in the woods,
Right, because it's maybe they've been coming more regularly than we know.
Yeah, we attracted a lot
Yeah.
of things.
But anyway, so
and we can't ask them.
so I filled
So
out
frustrating.
I filled out the forms, sent them the video footage, and sent them the photos. So now they
Did
have
you
it.
get a prize or anything?
No.
Or your name on?
No.
anything?
No, but it's just really good to have a record of it, especially since there was more than one, because
Yeah.
that means that they're,
They're birds of a feather.
right? And but we may be seeing, for example, cardinals. 100 years ago, we had no cardinals that wintered over in Massachusetts, and now because the area is warming, we now have cardinals,
Right.
and also promoted by backyard bird feeding as well, I think. But now we have cardinals all year round up here. You wouldn't know that because you're a snowbird, right?
Correct.
You're a snowbird.
Cardinals are making a big
We have
push.
plenty of birds
Yeah, we have a
all year
beautiful
long.
pair of cardinals, right? When we look out our kitchen window as our outside shower, and there's a nest right there
Yeah.
with the cardinals in it.
Yeah, we get some
It's
cardinals.
Yeah,
right
it's
in there,
beautiful.
too.
That's cool.
I love
Yeah,
the
it's really
cardinals.
cool to watch. Really cool.
And they're
Card-
so Christmassy looking. It's lucky if you get.
Yeah.
Well, it's so
They're
wild when
decorated.
you can really spot them.
Yeah, the males are the brilliant red, and the females are much more muddy
dull.
colored.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's because they're sitting on the nest more, so they blend in better.
Well, they don't
Yeah,
have to.
sorry.
They don't have to
Prayer.
attract.
What would be a-
It's just like everything else. The men have to do all
cat.
the work to get laid.
Yeah, with prayer. Is there any natural
Like
predator
the police
to a cardinal, you
turns,
think?
right?
Outside.
Dangling the
It's
fish.
everything.
Coyotes.
Coyote, yeah.
What
For
would
sure.
what would prey on cardinals?
Yeah.
Coyote.
No,
Fox?
no, not mammals like that.
How about raptors?
No, yeah, raptors would. Large predatory birds would.
Large
A
predators.
coyote wouldn't eat a cardinal.
They're not
I
going
mean,
to get
if
it.
it was dead on the ground, it would. But
Ooh.
coyotes can't really
fly.
can't fly. So.
You know that.
but
So another bird of prey would go for
yeah,
cardinal.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. I just want to I'm going to go over a few thank yous again. I want to thank Craig Kimberly for hosting our barbecue delegation barbecue yesterday. I want to
What
thank
did you barbecue?
what?
What did you barbecue?
We did 3 racks of spares. We had 25 or so lobsters on a big ranch kettle.
Are you going to
Do you
post
kill the
pictures on Good
lobsters
Morning
first?
Gloucester?
I did it out northeast. What?
Do you kill the lobsters before you put them on the grill, or you just throw them on the grill?
Well, we parboiled them before we
Oh,
grilled
you
them.
parboil them.
Yeah,
Okay. How
about
long?
15 minutes parboiled, not completely cooked.
Yeah,
Split them in half.
yeah.
Actually, take the tails off. Cook the heads, backside down or topside down. The top of the lobster head and claws upside
Dorsal
down, laying on
side.
its backside.
I'm laying
Dorsal.
nothing back.
And then split the tails down the middle. And Craig did this. I didn't do this. I just boiled them. He did the
Yeah, just let me know
preparation.
how to do
he,
it.
he got a bunch of herbs,
Right,
fresh from Hannah's garden.
right.
Mashed it up with. I got 3 pounds of butter.
Oh wow, mash up
And he
the butter.
stuffed like the
Oh.
cavity of the tails with the butter.
Yum.
Oh, that sounds
Put it down on the back side first, so it's like a
The
cradle.
shell side.
The shell side down. Thank you. So that the butter would melt
Melt
all
through
into
it.
all the crevices of the
Yeah, good
tail,
strategy.
right.
and then
It would
just
have
for a
spilled
couple.
out if you put it the other way.
Absolutely, it would have. So only for a couple of seconds, at the end, turn it over the
High
flame,
heat,
so
over the
grill
flame.
it, yeah.
Charcoal. So
Yeah.
it's
Pretty hot.
it's ripping, and just to get a little char and a little smoke on it, and done. They were unbelievable.
Oh, that sounds
so I
good.
have 2 questions. So you called when I cook a lobster. What size lobsters are these?
Small.
Because when I
Chicken
cook
lobsters?
when I cook
Yeah.
a 1 1/4 to 1 1/2 pounder, I cook it for 10 to 12 minutes. So when you say parboil, did you cook it for 15 minutes?
We steamed them. I don't know. It might have been 12. I don't know.
Oh, okay. So it's not really cooking too much at all when it's on the grill.
We're steaming them.
I use
Yeah,
Jasper White's cooking time chart, and it's different times for boiling and steaming, which I thought was interesting.
And now-
Yeah, that
And he
makes
has a
sense.
parboiling, a
Okay.
par cooking chart as well. That
Oh,
book
okay.
has everything you need to know.
Okay.
Oh, that's
I
good
can
to know.
Yeah.
Send you a copy.
Yeah,
I'll Xerox it.
Yeah.
It's an
Oh,
old
would
book.
you?
That's really good to
Yeah,
know.
remind me to Xerox.
Send it to her,
that.
and maybe
Yeah.
do a post about it.
No, I'll just Xerox it. I'll bring you all
Okay.
copies.
Yeah, they're great. And I just lost my train.
What else did you? So you had the lobsters.
You had spare ribs and lobster.
A
A
guy made
non-kosher nightmare right there so far.
meatball stuffed with mozzarella wrapped with bacon.
Delicious.
That sounds perfect.
It was outrageous.
Did you
Neil
put a sauce
Matthews,
on it?
Bridget's husband.
Did you put a sauce on the meatballs?
He did barbecue sauce on him, and towards the end because
Yeah.
the sugar will.
Yeah,
You know.
sounds good.
Neil Matthews, Bridget's husband, made. Did 4 pork tenderloins. 2 of them were a maple glaze. They're hot with a little bit of heat. And they made jerky. I should mention Neil and Bridget made jerky for the Lannon cruise, and they did a jalapeno pepper
love
one.
So there was food on there.
This was the first.
Yeah,
Just not enough for you.
there was
No nachos.
there was jerky. There was jerky.
Yeah, well, that's a little something.
Homemade jerky.
That's a little something to drink on an empty stomach when you're hungry.
That's
At least
terrible.
the jerky helped.
Well,
a
if you're a
little.
professional like me, you can withstand this.
If I have a glass of wine and I'm on an empty stomach, I'm loopy.
Yeah, I can't.
When
do
these
it.
events come up, I'm all anxiety the week leading up to it, and I'm running on adrenaline
Yeah.
anyway. So I get up for these events.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all about the anticipation.
Yeah.
Yeah, you worry. It comes.
No,
you
embrace
let it
that.
rip, and then you
Yeah.
have a great time, and then you're like, I can't believe I worried about that. For a
Yeah,
week.
embrace it.
So there's that.
Yeah.
All right. So I wanted to thank Paul Gigoloni Plus 90 Cigars. I wanted to thank the Lannon, the Ellis family on the Lannon, and their crew. They're so fantastic.
First class operation.
First class operation. I'm psyched that Chris brought Russ Steeves by, long time friend. And I wanted to say thank you. I wanted to say thank you, happy birthday to my niece and nephew, BJ and Amanda. They turned 20 today. I'm horrified at what it's going to be like next year. In the heat of the summer, turning 21 with those two animals.
Should start saving up the bail money now.
Save up the
Make a
bail.
collection.
My sister does
Crowdfunding.
elaborate. My sister does elaborate birthdays for them to this day. Like usually they plan and they go. She asks them what they do, but then she'll take them into Boston on like these hunts, and then it's so over the top. It's so wild. Like I know for a period of in their teens that they would complain about having to do it, but then when they did it, they always enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to the day, and I don't know if this has already happened or not, because I know they always are kind of begrudgingly. I don't want to, have like a 2-year-old's birthday party, but like I hope that this is the day that they say to her, Ma, when you went so over the top for us, and it was so crazy every year.
At our 20th birthday party.
I hope they say, thank you so much because you really made it special, rather than just letting.
Yeah, my son's 26 now, and he's gotten to that point where he will reminisce about something from his childhood and how we went the extra mile for him.
Yeah.
And it just comes out of the blue that he remembers these things, and it's so heartwarming.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That I think,
Because there's so
it'll
many
happen.
years that little kids are so self-absorbed. They have no concept
Well,
of
they're
what you're
supposed to
doing
be.
for them. I get it. No, I absolutely they are. But then, like when they come out of it, and then they start to recognize what you do for them.
Yeah.
I imagine that's really nice.
Yeah, my son's been doing that, and it really is so gratifying.
How old is your son?
26.
26.
Asher,
Asher.
good guy. Good guy. He turned me on to the New Balance sneakers. Did you say they have the
He's
big
hoping
sale?
for you to like grow in your whiskey tastes and move into scotches. That's been his progression. He started with the bourbons when he was like 14.
Have a deal with tequila first.
No.
I think tequila along the way.
We're just talking about the whiskey timeline.
I can't do tequila. I have a similar thing with tequila that I have with Jägermeister.
Tequila
Do you get a headache
and
from
lime make a
tequila?
delicious
No, it makes me
marinade for
nauseous.
chicken.
Oh,
It sure
I get a
does.
headache
Huh?
from tequila.
Tequila and lime makes a very nice marinade for chicken before you grill it.
Interesting.
Delicious.
Oh, there you go. I can probably. I haven't gotten there because it's only been a couple months with the bourbon that I
Yeah.
really enjoy, but I could probably see, just like when you started out drinking as a kid, and you're drinking rum and Coke. I mean, it's all syrup, it's all sweet, and then like the thought of me drinking a rum and Coke right now makes me sick to my stomach, like with all that sugar. Right, and then you get a little older, you might go vodka tonic, right?
Or rum and Coke Zero, maybe.
Right, but then vodka tonic, the tonic you discover is a little too sweet, so you go vodka soda.
But you won't get malaria.
What do you mean?
The tonic water is full of quinine.
Oh, so
They use quinine to treat malaria.
Yeah.
Oh.
So you won't
Lifelong
be getting
learner.
malaria if you're having anything with tonic
So
water.
is that why it's
Next
like
time you go to
gin and
South
tonics
America.
are so popular with the British and
I think
England?
that's one reason,
Yeah.
but I see people drinking gin and tonics in the evening, and I don't really approve of that either. It's really a daytime drink.
oh, gin and tonic. Paul Morrison did the gin in gin at the. What do you hear about Morrison?
Yeah.
The shameless Paul Morrison.
What is he up to?
Shameless Paul Morrison shows up. I swear he just heard this, he smelled the plume, right? He's not involved in any of the barbecue stuff. It was really for the barbecue groups,
He
right?
showed up at your.
He fucking
Crashed
he
it.
weasels
Barbecue
in
crashed.
with a
If I
cooler,
had known, I would have crashed.
a cooler with just what you would be welcome because you contribute. You would be absolutely be welcome. He never brings any fucking thing.
No, I bring good
And he
stuff.
fucking stuffs his face. He'll be the first one in the line when something comes off the grill.
Oh, that's
Stuffs his face. He had a bottle of the Bombay Sapphire. He drank the whole fucking bottle.
Well, how big was the bottle? Was it a
No, it wasn't that he didn't share it. I don't know humans that can
What was
drink
it, like a
and
quart?
function a whole thing of Bombay gin. What?
There's different size bottles. What size
Juniper
bottle
Berry.
was
It was a good. It was
It wasn't a
little.
fifth.
It was like the curve on this bottle was the
It was
same.
like a fifth.
It was like, yeah.
That's a lot.
The
That's a
law.
juniper berry.
You're lucky you did correct.
Look up juniper berry.
Yeah, we took his keys.
Medicinal benefits of
Oh,
juniper
you
berry.
did? Oh,
Yeah.
my God.
Yeah, we took his keys. Kate drove him home.
You're lucky you didn't have to go to
Kate
the
and,
hospital.
Kate and Chris DeWolf drove him home.
I've driven him home before.
Well, after the
Sad.
Horribles parade, you were the one that saved him that time. He's a pro. He's a professional. So anyway, it was a great time.
I'm glad you took his keys.
Let me know
Yeah,
next
yeah.
time there's one of these super barbecues. I'll bring the rolls.
The rolls.
Yeah, I'll make dinner rolls to go with
she'll
your
make
stuff.
homemade dinner.
Homemade.
Homemade.
You know what?
Delicious rolls.
How about cornbread?
Yeah, cornbread's not really a challenge, though. Anyone can make
But I
that.
bet you'd make really
I do
good
have
cornbread.
special cornbread,
I
though,
like
where I
jalapeno
get
cornbread.
the ultra-fine cornmeal from a mill in Alabama, rural Alabama. And you call them on the phone, and they tell you how much it's going to be, and you mail them a check, and after the check clears, your bank, which is only open like one day a week here, they mail you this ultra-fine cornmeal. It's J.T. Pollard's in Alabama, and I have some here at the house that I use for cornbread, and it's the best.
Oh, I bet that would make wonderful cornbread.
It's a white cornmeal. Excellent.
Ah, well, there you go.
Wow,
It's
well-
GloucesterCast 290. Anybody have anything to add?
No, that was a great cast.
It was great.
Fun hearing you reminisce about your.
I'm glad it didn't go way off the rails. I knew it would go a little. Chris McCarthy in the house.
It was off the rails.
You know it could go a
Yeah,
little bit
it
off
was
the
very much.
rails. No, when we're doing the
It's
show
like the
notes,
Amtrak of podcasts.
and there you have it. GloucesterCast
Hashtag
290.
train wreck.
Hashtag trainer.
Hashtag train wreck.